Plano police say they have identified the driver who struck a 12-year-old girl with her car and then just took off. Hello, everybody. I'm Heather Hayes.
And I'm Steve Eager. It's 9 o'clock. Video captured the entire incident last week as the girl was walking to school. She was, no matter what you see on the screen, she was not seriously hurt. The driver has yet to be charged, but police say she has admitted to what she did. Fox 4's David Santandri spoke with police today. David.
Yeah, the name of that woman will not be released until a judge signs an arrest warrant and she is formally charged. Now, police say this woman who hit the 12-year-old girl drove off and never turned herself in, but police were able to track her down. Video shows a 12-year-old girl being hit by an SUV while walking to school in Plano on December 12th. The driver stops for a couple seconds before reversing and driving off in a different direction. Plano Police Department released this video in hopes of identifying the driver.
Upon that, we had a lot of neighbors calling us, a lot of tips.
Now, the department says it has identified a woman as the suspect and is awaiting a judge to likely sign an arrest warrant.
The child had walked to school even though they had been just hit by the car.
Family members of the girl told Fox 4 she only had minor injuries. Still, the driver's failure to stop and render aid will likely lead to a felony charge. Officer Chapman says the woman has been interviewed by detectives and admitted to being the driver.
She didn't know what to do. She panicked, and we understand that, but you cannot leave the scene.
Plano PD says she expressed deep regret for not remaining at the scene to ensure the child's safety.
Just feeling sorry that she did that. Absolutely, deeply sorry. She didn't mean to do that. She realized she kept doing wrong things by leaving.
It's unclear, however, why she did not stop. It's also unclear if she saw any of the news reports highlighting the search for her. It's unclear why she never turned herself in. Instead, police say she only admitted to being the driver after they tracked her down. Fox 4 spoke with some neighbors who say they understand accidents happen. However,
could they relate to her leaving? No.
Plano Police Department says it is working closely with the Collin County District Attorney's Office as this investigation moves forward. We will keep you updated when we learn the name of that suspect. But for now, Heather, Steve, back to you.
A Lyft driver who suffered a brutal attack during a ride is out of the hospital, although he remains tonight in very bad shape. On Monday night, he picked up a man for a ride, and police say that man attacked him from behind, slitting his throat, stealing his car. Fox 4's Peyton Yeager met with the victim and spoke with his loved ones as well. Peyton.
Heather, the 25-year-old Lyft driver, again, out of the hospital. Thankfully, he is at home recovering. He tells me the suspect was quiet the entire 15-minute ride. Once they reached their final destination, the Lyft driver says the suspect pulled out a knife and demanded to hand over the vehicle.
This is 25-year-old Delalvar Burke, bedridden but thankful to be alive. The Lyft driver has stitches across his neck, a wound too graphic to show. Also, bandages cover deep gashes to his hands. Burke's friend, Dustin Tovey, spoke on his behalf on Thursday.
He was rushed to the hospital, thankfully, and the paramedics got to him just in time.
Burke told police he picked up 19-year-old Antwain Williams of Frisco while driving for Lyft Monday evening. Once they reached the drop-off location, Legends at Legacy Apartment off Legacy Drive, Burke says he was attacked from behind with multiple weapons. First a knife, and then a cable or wire to try and choke him.
The rider took a knife to Delalvar's throat and basically was gonna slash his throat. And he did that a couple of times. Delalvar put his hand right in front of the knife and basically asked the rider, hey, whatever you want, just take it, leave me alone. And at that point, he actually had a wire that he was gonna put around his neck, and that's where Delalvar kind of reached out to that as well. And he got a lot of injuries from his fingers and also throughout his neck because he got stabbed a couple times.
Frisco police say Williams took Burke's Toyota Camry and left him in the apartment parking lot. Thankfully, there was a woman nearby to help Burke and call 911. Hours later, a patrol officer spotted the stolen Camry near Highway 423 in Rock Hill. Police tried to pull the vehicle over, but the driver sped away. Police say Williams eventually crashed out and tried to run, but was arrested. Meanwhile, Burke moved from Turkey to North Texas last year and sends money to his parents back home. Now leaning on his friends and cousins as he recovers.
He's somebody that works really hard, and it's really sad to see what happened to him. I don't think nobody should deserve that, especially the lover, because he works so hard.
The suspect, Williams, remains in the Denton County Jail this evening, facing charges of aggravated robbery with a deadly weapon and also evading arrest. Williams also, at the time on Monday, had an outstanding warrant for allegedly encouraging a child to perform a sex act. That warrant was out of Collin County, and now he is in Denton County Jail.
The Ellis County Sheriff's Office is mourning a detention officer who was murdered on the job. I'm Clarice Tinsley. Officer Isaiah Bias was killed while putting an inmate in his cell Monday afternoon. Sheriff Norman calls it pure evil. Fox 4 Stephen Dial is live in Ellis County. Stephen.
Sheriff Norman told reporters that he was limited in what he could say about how his officer was killed, but we just got our hands on some court documents. When the court documents say that Thompson allegedly punched, kicked, and choked the officer, and then went back to sit down as if nothing happened.
Occasionally, we deal with bad folks. I can honestly say that my staff over the last day has dealt with pure evil.
That is how Ellis County Sheriff Brad Norman described the inmate charged with murdering detention officer Isaiah Bias. Sheriff Norman said that he could only provide limited information about the attack, now under investigation by the Texas Rangers.
He was physically assaulted by an inmate in a cell area in a inmate holding facility while the officer was doing his daily job.
Investigators say Aaron Thompson was booked into the jail last month on 3 counts of assaulting a public servant. Sheriff Norman told us Thompson was in solitary confinement for 23 hours a day. According to an arrest warrant affidavit, while Bias was looking for Thompson to bring him back to his cell, Thompson punched and kicked Bias in the head. He also choked him from behind. Documents say Thompson then went to a table and sat down.
He loved what he did. He loved the people he worked with, and everybody around him loved him. Law enforcement in some capacity was definitely a career choice that he made and he loved.
Bias was 28 years old. Sheriff Norman said he met him when he was a teen in the Explorer program.
He wanted to be in law enforcement, and he came into work for the jail. You can come to work in the jail at 18, where you can't be a peace officer in Texas until you're 21.
Bias left the sheriff's office to get a degree from Navarro College. He came back and was promoted to corporal in detention services in 2022. As the oldest sibling in his family, Bias had just become an uncle a week earlier.
A very family-oriented person. His sister's baby is a week old, and was able to see the baby the day it was born.
Thompson is charged with capital murder. It is up to the district attorney if this case will be tried as a death penalty case.
It was a heinous, horrific, purposeful murder that was senseless and not needed. If I have anything to say about it, that's exactly what will happen. I believe they will ask my opinion as well as the ranger that worked this case, but the ultimate decision lies on the district attorney's office.
There's a sign on the door behind me that says no family visitations today. Inside the lobby is a picture of the officer, and some people have brought flowers. That's also in the lobby. The sheriff has brought in counselors to assist with anyone who needs it on staff.
3 young men and a juvenile suspect are charged with capital murder for a crime spree in Arlington and some neighboring cities, too.
So police say one of their crimes was a deadly shooting. Fox 4's Dion Anglin has the very latest from police on the investigation. Dion.
That's right. 4 suspects, according to police, terrorizing people in at least 3 cities. They're facing a slew of charges, and among them, as you mentioned, capital murder. 17-year-old Angel Barajas, 20-year-old Humberto Barajas, and 17-year-old Jatavius Jones, and a juvenile who is not pictured. All face charges, including capital murder, aggravated assault, aggravated robbery, animal cruelty, and evading arrest. Arlington police say the crew went on a murderous crime spree that left one man dead, another woman injured, as well as a family pet.
The speed at which they were committing these violent crimes is unprecedented.
This scene Sunday around 3 a.m. in the 4900 block of Little Road was an attempted carjacking. Innocent victim, 34-year-old Juan Sosa, was shot and died 3 days later. A woman passenger in the same vehicle survived without injury. Police describe how their string of crimes began hours earlier in Dallas.
We believe the incident started at around 9:45 p.m. over in Dallas with an initial carjacking.
Police say in Dallas they stole a Honda Civic, then headed west. They showed up at an apartment in this complex in South Arlington on Deer Creek Drive at 1:30 in the morning.
They were banging on a door trying to get somebody who didn't actually live there, where they had an encounter with a couple inside. The couple was like, no one by that name lives here kind of thing. They were looking for someone or something, and then as they were leaving, they fired rounds into that apartment, striking the woman.
Police say a family pet inside that apartment was also struck by gunfire. From there, police say the four committed the Little Road fatal shooting, and they didn't stop there.
After that, the suspects continued their violent string of crimes and attempted and carjacked another person in Grand Prairie, where they were able to get that Lincoln town car.
Police say Jatavius Jones lives in Dallas and has outstanding warrants from Dallas County. The other suspects are from Arlington. Police say surveillance video on Little Road gave them a good look at the Honda Civic, and investigators quickly linked the shootings at the apartment complex and Little Road. Police spotted that vehicle being trailed by the Lincoln town car stolen in Grand Prairie. Police say the suspects crashed the Honda Civic, and all were eventually apprehended.
They were looking to steal cars that day, and even having shot a woman and a dog earlier in the evening, that didn't stop them. They continuously put guns in people's faces and stole their cars all through the night. And they really left a wake of terror in the Metroplex over the weekend, and I'm glad that we have them finally in custody.
Now, among the adult suspects, two of them have bond amounts set at more than $1 million. The suspect, Jatavius Jones, his bond amount is not yet listed.
Former police officer turned himself into authorities on a criminal misdemeanor charge, allegedly solicited sex from a woman he arrested for DWI. Donald Mercer resigned from the Cedar Hill Police Department just days after the complaint from the August arrest was made. He was already under investigation for something else. He turned himself into authorities yesterday. Fox 4's David Santandri has more details from the court documents he got today. David.
Yes, Steve, as you just said, Donald Mercer was under investigation for a separate incident when this report was filed. Of course, this one is allegedly about using his position to sexually harass a woman he was arresting for a DWI. According to the arrest warrant for the now former Cedar Hill police officer, Donald Mercer, he pulled over a 26-year-old woman at 400 East Beltline Road in August. After failed field sobriety tests, he arrested her for DWI and placed her in the back of his patrol car before taking her to Midlothian Methodist Hospital for a blood draw. While leaving the hospital, the woman tells Officer Mercer that she has marijuana in her pocket, according to the affidavit. Texas DPS says video showed Officer Mercer allegedly reaching into her pocket, then kissing her neck and lips before putting her seatbelt on and driving off. Officer Mercer did not make it far, however, allegedly pulling into a parking lot 1 mile away and turning off the patrol car's lights and his body camera. The rear patrol car camera activated, however, once he allegedly opened the victim's door. That video allegedly shows the two talking away from the car. The woman claims Officer Mercer asked for oral sex, and she said no. Video shows the officer placing her back in the patrol car. Her hands are still cuffed behind her back, and she is whimpering. Then, on the way to jail, the victim is seen passing out several times due to her intoxication level. The next day, the officer allegedly texted her saying he'll return her marijuana. A month later, the victim texted the officer, in part, "You pulled over in the middle of nowhere to get me to do a sex act. You know I can report you." Mercer resigned from the police department rather than face termination proceedings, according to the Cedar Hill police chief. Mercer's attorney is asking for people to not rush to judgment. He says they are conducting their own investigation, but did not accept our request for an on-camera interview earlier today.
Southlake police say a 19-year-old arrested last month after causing a crash and firing a rifle near Southlake Town Square was so combative during his arrest, he had to be restrained and sedated. The surveillance video from the morning of the shooting shows bystanders running for their lives. 19-year-old Sean Jordan was arrested. Court documents reveal he put up a fight with police. Fox 4's Amelia Jones live in Southlake with the update. Amelia.
Clarice, court documents reveal 19-year-old Sean Jordan tried to bite and kick officers multiple times. They had to restrain him to a chair at one point, and they even had to sedate him to calm him down. On the morning of November 22nd, several people called Southlake police to report a gold van driving the wrong way near the Southlake Town Square. The van hit several cars before the driver got out and started shooting. A surveillance camera from a nearby jewelry store captured the chaos. According to court documents Fox 4 obtained on Monday, calls came in about a multi-vehicle crash. Body and dash camera footage from a responding officer showed 19-year-old Sean Jordan allegedly chasing another man while holding a rifle. Police say Jordan fired the rifle. The officer fired back, then hid behind a truck as he radioed back, "Shots fired." Later, he told a fellow officer, quote, "He almost shot me." During the arrest, police say Jordan continued to be combative. Police say when Jordan was placed in the back of a police vehicle, he removed his seatbelt and tried to kick open the door. Jordan also, quote, attempted to kick officers and tried to bite a sergeant. An officer rode in the back seat with Jordan to jail in order to hold his arms to keep him from unbuckling his seatbelt. Once at the jail, police say Jordan again attacked officers and, quote, had to be restrained to a chair for his safety and ours. Court documents say he continued to bite and kick officers while he was being processed. Paramedics had to administer a sedative to get Jordan to calm down. He was transported to a hospital where officers stayed with him until he could be taken back to the jail. No one was injured in the shooting. Police say they found a rifle at the scene and a handgun near the driver's seat of Jordan's car. Jordan is charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, aggravated assault of a peace officer, and resisting arrest. He's still being held at the Tarrant County Jail.
A downtown Dallas organization is asking any additional victims to come forward after a series of seemingly random attacks. The suspect is now behind bars, but records show he's been released in the past before, allegedly attacking again. Fox 4's David Santendry spoke with two women who say they were attacked. David.
Yeah, Heather, it's just earlier today. We spoke with two women who say they were randomly attacked by this man in downtown Dallas, and it appears there are more victims out there.
I felt and heard someone running behind me, but it was like happening too fast for me to react, and he just shoved me into the ground onto the pavement.
Brianne Betcher says she was knocked to the ground by Cody Burkett while walking along Main Street in downtown Dallas Monday afternoon.
He just kept walking straight away. I mean, I screamed at him, but that's about it.
She's part of a growing list of people claiming to have been assaulted by Burkett in downtown.
It's very lawless down here.
Leanne Lewis, a downtown business owner, says she's seen Burkett plenty of times before, but this past weekend, he put his hands on her.
But all of a sudden, he just came up from behind me and grabbed me and started just yelling gibberish in my ear.
Lewis took video of Dallas police detaining Burkett. A post to Facebook generated dozens of interactions, some people claiming to also be victims.
I think that really was a good push to get some sort of traction, some sort of change.
Now, Downtown Dallas, Inc., a nonprofit which provides security services to downtown, says it's working with Dallas Police Department and the District Attorney's Office to hold Burkett accountable. Court records reveal Burkett was supposed to begin a 45-day jail sentence on December 3rd for an assault against a woman last month. But police say he assaulted another person just 13 days later. A public records search uncovered 53 criminal filings, including convictions of multiple aggravated assaults and kidnapping, which led to prison time. Records show Burkett has had court-ordered mental health evaluations in the past. In his recent mugshot, a hand appears to be bracing him.
I'm actually very thankful that they have finally done something about this, because hopefully we get Cody Burkett off the street.
Downtown Dallas Inc. says some other alleged victims of Burkett have chosen to not file police reports. They're asking anyone who's a victim to do so.
The only way it's going to work is if citizens and police work together for a common ground to make changes.
Betcher is recovering from minor injuries.
Yeah, and I was wearing a sweatshirt, so I had long sleeves on the sweat, like through the sweatshirt. This is just where I guess I caught my body when I fell.
Moving forward, she cannot help but feel a bit different about walking through her neighborhood.
I've been walking around downtown for years, and that was the first time it happened, so I do feel a little more scared. Yeah.
Burkett has been in Dallas County Jail since Tuesday afternoon. His bond right now is shown at $3,000, according to some online records. We also reached out to the Dallas County District Attorney's Office today because, remember, Downtown Dallas Inc. says it is working with prosecutors to make sure that justice is served regarding these cases, but we have yet to hear back from the DA's office on how exactly it plans to do so.
Investigators say a Tarrant County teen is walking again, talking on her own, even eating normally after she was separated from a mother who faked her daughter's medical conditions. Hello, everybody. I'm Heather Hayes.
I'm Steve Eager. It's 9 o'clock. The Tarrant County Sheriff's Office arrested 43-year-old Denise Zamora on felony child abuse charges. Detectives say her lies led surgeon to implant a feeding tube in her daughter, and the abuse went on for several years. Investigators also say Zamora faked cancer herself, and they're now looking into whether she received donations for her and her daughter's medical needs. Fox 4 David Centenary in Fort Worth tonight with more on this case. David.
Well, investigators say that 15-year-old had a lengthy list of medical conditions that the mother lied about, and that the mother even lied about her own health. Denise Zamora is facing 9 felony charges for allegedly providing a false medical history of her daughter, which led to the 15-year-old having unnecessary procedures and medications throughout a 6-year period, according to the Tarrant County Sheriff's Office. According to an arrest warrant, Zamora took her daughter to Cook Children's for 7 emergency visits, 12 admissions, 44 diagnoses, and 19 medications this year alone. In 2020, her daughter had a feeding tube installed, but according to the warrant, video evidence from the hospital appeared to show Zamora trying to pass off fake vomit to hospital staff as her daughter's vomit during a stay last month. That led to an investigation. Zamora allegedly told medical staff for 4 years that her daughter could only tolerate feeds through the feeding tube. However, the girl immediately began to eat by mouth after separation from her mother, according to investigators. A doctor's medical assessment listed in the warrant suspects the child is a victim of Munchausen syndrome by proxy, a mental health disorder in which a caregiver creates the appearance of health problems in another person. Detectives say Zamora refused to provide an explanation for the allegations against her. The warrant says Zamora's daughter went to school in a wheelchair, even though investigators say she is perfectly capable of walking. Investigators also say Zamora lied to family and friends about her own medical history, claiming she has cancer, even shaving her head to fake chemotherapy treatments.
She was told that she had cancer.
Fox 4 photographer Mel Saavedra translated an interview with a former neighbor of Zamora's who believed Zamora's cancer claim and that her daughter had medical issues.
Told her many times that she couldn't eat this or eat that because she was sick.
The Tarrant County Sheriff's Office says there is an investigation into Medicaid fraud charges for up to $1 million in unnecessary medical treatments. Zamora's bond has not yet been set. The arrest warrant says the child is off of her medications, one of those medications being ketamine, which is used to treat pain and depression. The child's mother also claimed that the 15-year-old is nonverbal, but that appears to be false. She's now eating regularly, according to that arrest warrant, excited for foster care, and wants to learn how to play baseball. Steve, Heather, back to y'all.
David, thank you.
A family is mourning after a driver hit and killed a husband and father of 3 and seriously injured that man's sister-in-law. The crash happened Friday night, and police believe speed played a role in it. Fox 4's Amelia Jones spoke to loved ones of both of those victims. She's in Arlington tonight. Amelia.
Steve, the crash greatly impacted the White family. They lost one family member, and another is still in critical condition here at Medical City, Arlington. I spoke with one family member who was there when the crash happened. He told me it all happened so fast, there was no time to warn anyone.
The impact happened like this.
Andrew White can't stop reliving Friday night.
Honestly, I'm broken.
He went to help his wife and daughter who spun out on North Watson Road Friday night. He called his brother Tyler White, the family's handyman he calls him, to help as well. They got the car back to the curb and went to Tyler White's SUV to get a cable.
I look up. This is the SUV. You can see it like revved up, coming at a high speed in the rain.
Arlington police say a speeding BMW hit and killed 31-year-old Tyler White. 42-year-old Beatrice White is still in critical condition in the hospital. The 34-year-old woman behind the wheel of the BMW that caused the crash was also taken to the hospital in critical condition.
I lost a loved one. One is fighting for her life.
Tyler White leaves behind a wife and 3 children.
Will never be forgotten.
Beatrice White's injuries are extensive, and she has a long recovery ahead.
I couldn't see my wife like that. We just celebrated 11-year anniversary on December 6th. We got 2 girls, 2011.
Arlington police haven't filed charges yet, and they haven't ruled out whether alcohol played a role in the crash. Andrew White has this message for the driver.
Just as you caused detrimental hardship to our families, you did to yours as well.
Arlington police say Tyler White did have his hazard lights on when the crash happened. The name of the driver of the BMW hasn't been released yet. There's no time frame for when Beatrice White could be out of the hospital.
Arrested and charged with aggravated sexual assault of a child, 64-year-old Nicholas Carney, arrested in Ardmore, Oklahoma.
This story for this particular case is really a story of evolving technology helping us revisit this case.
13 years after the assault, in 2004, Plano police uploaded DNA preserved from 1991 into the FBI National Crime DNA Database, CODIS, and got a hit on a similar sexual assault in Dallas that happened in 1999.
We get the match between the 2 cases, which is wonderful. It opens up the case. It gets us more things that we compare and look at, but it still goes without identifying the offender for, about 20 more years.
This year, Plano police turned to Bodhi technology and its forensic genetic genealogy, which compares DNA to commercial DNA databases. Family trees are then built identifying the possible DNA source, and DNA profiling is used to confirm or exclude everyone else except the person that is a match to the DNA sample. The genealogy investigation ended at Nicholas Carney.
We're going to want to learn everything we can about this person we've arrested, Nicholas Carney. Where has he been living? What timelines has he been in different places? What open cases are in those areas? What other victims can we work for? How can our partnership with our victim from 1991 help other victims that we don't even know about yet?
Wow. The forensic genetic genealogy used in this case, similar to what Plano police used to solve the serial sorority rapist a few years back. It's a valuable resource yielding new clues for old cases.
Fort Worth police are looking for a man wanted for committing several armed robberies. They say he's becoming increasingly violent. The latest robbery happened last night. Fox 4's Peyton Yeager is in Fort Worth with that story tonight. Peyton.
Steve, Fort Worth police tell me in the previous robberies, he wore a hood, so it was hard to see his face. However, in the robbery that took place last night, we got surveillance video. He was still wearing a hood, but we got a good glimpse of his face. Now investigators here in Fort Worth are hoping someone from the public recognizes him.
In the last 6 weeks, Fort Worth police say this man committed 5 robberies at corner stores across the city, each time getting more aggressive.
The individual's using different tactics to try and distract the clerk so that they can ultimately just rob the store and take the money.
The 365 food store off North Main Street was hit twice. Both times, according to police, the suspect first sat at a gaming machine, then rushed to the clerk with a knife and demanded cash. Investigators say the same suspect also robbed ABC food store off Hemp Hill twice. On November 15th, the suspect in a gray hoodie asked for change for a fake $100 bill. The suspect pushed the clerk behind the counter and told him to open the register while holding a knife. While the suspect is grabbing the cash, a distinct ring is on his left hand.
And they're using some type of hood to try to cover their face. As you can see, you can get good glimpses of who this individual is.
And then Monday evening, Fort Worth police say this food mart off Mansfield Highway was hit. The owner of the store provided this surveillance video to Fox 4, saying his employee was held at gunpoint. The same suspect is seen in a camouflage jacket walking out of the store. $2 grand was taken in cash, along with rolls of lottery scratch-offs and cartons of cigarettes. Behind him, a second man in a dark-colored hoodie, also with his hands full.
Fort Worth police say the main suspect is seen entering and leaving the stores on foot. So right now we do not have a suspect vehicle. Thankfully, no one was injured in any of these robberies. If you know anything, contact Fort Worth police.
I mean, he's been missing since January 21 is the last time anybody contacted him that we have located.
Andrew Dilbeck with the U.S. Marshal Service North Texas Fugitive Task Force has been searching without ceasing for this man, Joe Tarrin.
Joe Tarrin is a wanted fugitive here in North Texas. He was pled guilty to sexual assault of a child, online solicitation of a minor, and he's also wanted for unlawful flight to avoid prosecution by the U.S. Marshals.
So what happened? He pled guilty December 2020.
Yes.
He was waiting to be sentenced.
Correct. And
out on bond.
Out on bond, and during that time, that's when he fled.
No hide or hair since then?
No, sir.
Searching across the country?
Yes, sir.
But you think he's back here now?
We believe he's still in the Metroplex, yes.
The U.S. Marshal's Most Wanted poster lists the 30-year-old Joe Tarrin, who has a birthday January 16th, as a sexually violent predator who has seemingly disappeared into thin air. Joe Tarrin was active on social media. These images from TikTok.
You haven't been able to find him, but you think he's here?
Yes, sir. This is where he's from. This is where he would find the means or be able to hide.
Yeah. How do you survive being wanted 3 years on the streets?
In this case, someone would have to help him. He wouldn't be able to do it on his own.
So what do you need?
I need anybody that's seen him to contact the U.S. Marshals.
That number is 202-307-9700, the Marshals tip line, or usmarshals.gov.
What do you want the people to know who's helping him hide?
That you're hiding someone that victimized a child, and that's not okay. I mean, help us speak for the child
and bring a fugitive to justice. Sean Rabb, Fox 4 News.
Carrollton police are trying to find the man who ripped off a GameStop store last week and threatened employees. Good evening, I'm Clarice Tinsley. They hope his clothes, a green sweatsuit, helps identify the GameStop Grinch. Fox 4's Sean Rabb has a surveillance video in this week's Trackdown.
We're at 2626 North Josie Lane in Carrollton. With me, Detective Brandon Bonner, the Carrollton Police Department. Detective, what happened here December 10th at this GameStop?
Well, a gentleman walked in and asked to see a PlayStation 5, spoke with the clerks for a few minutes, and as he was looking at it, he acted like he was going to pay for it, then placed it under his arm and walked out. As he was leaving, he made a threat to them, said, "Don't follow me or I'll kill you."
You have video, good video of him.
We do. He was in there for about 30 minutes. He walks in and talks to the clerks. He talks to them about different games and different things that he's looking at. And then he has to charge his phone for a little bit, which they allow him to do up there on the counter. And then they bring out a PlayStation 5, which he has to see. And he looks at it for a while and mulls it over. And then before you know it, as he's pretending to pay for it, he just places it under his arm and heads out the door, and then turns around and threatens them.
Is there anything recognizable about him, Detective?
Well, he's wearing all green sweats. He's wearing a green beanie. There's a skull on the beanie. He has a beard, black male, maybe in his 20s, mid-20s, and he's pretty thin build or to medium build.
If you know him, will you know him?
I believe someone would know him, definitely. I think if someone saw him, they would likely recognize him based off of his mannerisms and his facial features.
And if they do recognize him, if they do know him, what do you need?
If they can give us a contact, they can contact us at crimetips@cityofcarrollton.com and just provide any information they may have. That would be a great help.
Is there a phone number also?
There is. That phone number is going to be 972-466-9133. We would like to be able to hold someone accountable and make sure our citizens and our staff, people here, employees, are safe.
All right, take another look at the video. Who is this guy in this green sweatsuit? Who is he? Get at Detective Brandon Bonner. The email, the website, or the phone number. Help find the man who ripped off this GameStop and threatened the employees here in Carrollton.